When we hear people talk about the draft, one of the biggest draft busts in the last few years was the number 3 overall pick in the 2020 draft, Jeff Okudah for the Detroit Lions, especially when there were so many Pro Bowlers and great players taken after this 3rd overall pick, even in his own position, players like AJ Terrell and Trevon Diggs, who have already had a lot of success in their young careers. But I still think this narrative of him being a bust is just way too early to say, and the context of everything that has transpired is much more important, and that doesn't get talked about enough, or frankly, hardly ever. So in today's video, I want to share why we can't write off Jeffrey Okudah quite yet, why I still think he could be an elite corner in today's game if he stays healthy, and why he is my early pick to be the comeback player of the year this upcoming season. There's obviously a lot to talk about in this video, so let's get into it. First, we need to talk about his rookie season in 2020 because that is easily the most criticized year and the main reason why everyone calls him a bust, because he only played in 1 game last year. And with a small 10-game sample size, 2020 had 9 of them, so we will mainly be focusing on this season. And if you're just stat watching his rookie year, there is really no proper defense to say that he had any amount of success. He was statistically terrible, but that's only if you disregard all of the context that went into that season. First of all, the cornerback position in general is not typically the easiest one that translates immediately into NFL success. It takes a lot of time to grow into the position because not only do you have to backpedal and guess what the receiver's doing in man coverage, but also in zone concepts. The NFL is so much more complex offensively than it is in college, and the offense is going to do everything to show smoke and mirrors, confuse the defense, especially young rookie corners. How many times have we seen Tom Brady just abuse young corners over and over for just being a tick too slow because they have to second guess themselves? Not only you are at a disadvantage on defense having to react instead of creating the confusion, you aren't even able to play as fast as you'd like to since you're not exactly sure what you're looking at quite yet. But on top of that, if you're already at a disadvantage, what if you have a nagging hamstring injury on top of that? Well, that's exactly what Jeff Okudah had going into his rookie year. Not only was he not able to play in any preseason games to get used to NFL competition at all because of COVID, he also missed week 1 because of this injury, which leads me to the first major problem of his young career that needs to be looked at further. His first career start came in a week 2 matchup against the Green Bay Packers, and here's where the stats don't tell the whole story. Stats won't tell you that he had an injury. Stats won't tell you that head coach at the time, Matt Patricia, would allow his hurt rookie corner with no experience to play travel press man-to-man coverage against Devante Adams. And I don't care if you're a fully healthy Jalen Ramsey, this is going to be a tough ask. But because Matt Patricia was so great for the Lions and he obviously learns from his mistakes, the next week in week 3 when they played the Cardinals, they had a totally different game plan for probably the next best receiver of the league at the time, DeAndre Hopkins. Well, if you thought that, you'd be wrong. He left Okudah essentially on an island in a lot of single high zone or man coverage with DHop in back-to-back weeks. But let's look at some plays very quickly because it went about as well as you might think. In this first play we're going to look at, the Lions actually jump out to an early lead, but if you're Matt Patricia and you're begging Aaron Rodgers to get them back into the game, you give him a look like this. On a 1st and 10, you play cover 1 man where it's everyone's manned up right here. You're only sending 4. This linebacker is going to be in the middle of the field, and then a single high safety that's not in picture. But right here, we have Jeff Okudah press man-to-man in the slot against Devante Adams. And the best wide receiver in the league with the best release package, one of the most unguardable people one-on-one, Matt Patricia puts his hurt rookie corner on him one-on-one, and it goes about how you expect. Now, is this on Jeff Okudah? This is a warm-up throw for Aaron Rodgers and Devante Adams. They're pretty much throwing on air right here, but whose fault really is this? Is this Jeff Okudah's fault? Could he played it better? Sure. Would he still have caught it? Absolutely. It's all about the positions you're being put in. And on this next play, this Packers player is going to go in motion, Lions player is going to foul, a clear tell of man, but Aaron Rodgers has to look up here and think, you've got to be kidding me. You haven't checked out of this yet? Hardly any team in the league will leave Devante Adams one-on-one, nonetheless a rookie quarterback. If we see Aaron Rodgers on this play, there's not a single read. He doesn't need to look anyone off. This is about as easy it'll get for him. They're pretty much handing him a 1st down. So we can talk about how good Jeffrey Okudah is, which we're going to cover some Ohio State film later in this video. But to say that he was put in a good situation in his rookie year, especially his first career start where Aaron Rodgers can just take one step back, let it fly like it's in practice, is just a joke. In this play, he's not covering Devante Adams one-on-one. Devante Adams is up here, but on this play, for some reason, they give this guy safety help over the top. But on this side, they're going to be playing man-to-man coverage. And on a 3rd and 8, this is a terrible coverage to be in. And when the Packers come out in this alignment right here, this should be immediately check into a zone or some sort of banjo look. And what banjo is it's still man-to-man, but you takes what's released to you. So this guy would have the first guy that goes inside, second, third. But what you're asking Jeff Okudah to do right here is guard Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who runs a 4-3-8, and these guys are pretty much going to run some clear routes, whether it's a pick or a rub, depends on what side of the ball you're on. He's just going to go underneath it all, and we're just going to see the horrible situations that Jeff Okudah was put in that make his stats look absolutely abysmal, and this is the context that we don't see, that Matt Patricia completely failed him in his rookie year. Because what is he supposed to do right here? Is he supposed to get through all of that traffic and go underneath it? He has to go over the top, and look at this is about the easiest pass Aaron Rodgers could complete. This is giving them a first down, and Jeff Okudah is absolutely helpless. But like we said, the very next week, nothing changed. The next week when he's going up against DeAndre Hopkins, again, single high safety, no help over the top. And they either did this or very, very soft zones where it was just a pitch and catch, no help over the top. He just has to sit on it, and Kyler Murray can just play pitch and catch with DeAndre Hopkins, allowing him to just get whatever he wants on this quick speed out. It's just an easy first down conversion. And it was honestly just hard to watch. This is about the equivalent of drafting a quarterback first overall who happens to be hurt with a bad offensive line, chosen to throw it 60 times in their first career start against the Rams defensive line when they had Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Leonard Floyd. So yes, statistically, he really struggled in his rookie season, as this injury and being put in a terrible situation never seemed to go away. But even if he was fully healthy, I still think it would have been an uphill battle for the young corner. But unfortunately, we didn't even get to see him play the remaining 15 games, as he suffered a season-ending groin injury in Week 11. But going into the 2021 season with a new head coach, a great defensive-minded defensive coordinator in Aaron Glenn going into year 2, I was very optimistic for him to finally be able to show out. And I thought he was playing very well in the opening week against the Niners. He was playing his zones correctly. He had some man-to-man opportunities and the ball wasn't coming his way. He was coming up and making some nice tackles. He looked much healthier and much confident as he was lining up on a single side of the field instead of immediately being thrown into being a traveling corner already. He had one pretty bad mess up as he gave up a long touchdown to Deebo Samuel. You can see him playing man at the top of your screen, now wearing number 23. He plays it very well, but he never gets his head turned around, can't make a play on the ball, and Deebo does. This was a big mistake, but really the only glaring hole during this game. But overall, I was much more impressed and was expecting big things from him last season. That is until, unfortunately, he had a non-contact Achilles tear in the fourth quarter of the very first game. A devastating injury, just another example of Jeff Okudah never catching a break. And if this was 10 to 20 years ago, possibly a career-ending injury. But now athletes can make full recoveries from this injury. We even saw Cam Akers come back in 6 months. But this does bring up a point. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how good you are if you are an injury-prone player. And that's what we've seen up to this point, but it's not uncommon for players to have injuries like these early in their career, but prove later for them to be flukes. Everything I could find on the internet is that his recovery is going very well. He's been running for a while and making sharp cuts. He's taking first-team reps and walkthroughs, and he will be joining team and position drills very soon. He got in contact with a couple of NBA players who made full recoveries from an Achilles tear, and apparently it gave him a lot of confidence to work harder than ever, and he is expected to make a full recovery. So now let's start to elaborate even further why I don't think he's a bust quite yet, and why he's going to be my pick for comeback player of the year. And to see this, we're going to have to go all the way back to when he was playing in the Scarlet and Gray, back to a time where he was heralded as a can't-miss prospect, and I know it's been a while, so let's refresh all of our memories on what a fully healthy Okudah actually looked like. And I'm sorry the B-roll for this video is mostly Ohio State clips so far, but as we talked about, we don't have many games of him as a Lion and playing in the NFL, but let's look at a couple specific plays to see what his ceiling could actually be. He has great size at 6'1", 205 pounds, and he plays such a clean game. And in college, he was technically brilliant. It's almost unheard of, but as in junior season, he played travel around the field guarding the other Big Ten's best receivers and didn't record a single penalty. Not a single holding call or pass interference. He had one late hit personal foul in the Michigan game, but honestly, that's to be expected. But looking at this first play, and it's incredible to go look back at the player he was in college, at how remarkable he was. He had all the tools, and not only this, he was a very smart player. And we're going to see right here, he's not just a press man-to-man. He's at the bottom of your screen right now. He's going to be in a zone drop. It's going to be some sort of covered three, and he's playing this very shallow, really trusting his speed, play action. But as the wide receiver starts to break right here, he makes a full 360 turn on a dime to go and contest this ball. Quarterback's going to throw it. It's on time. Jeff Okudah has the makeup speed in his zone coverage to go ahead and break this pass up. The tools are all there, the hip fluidity. This is perfect technique. And he changes up his techniques and disguises his coverages very well, because if you had to guess what he's in right now, you would guess press man-to-man, but they're actually in a zone. Number 3 is going to come over here and have the flats, and immediately on the snap of the ball, times it up perfectly. He's going to get into a zone drop as this receiver does like a shallow in, and then we're going to have a little glance route right here, but he's able to play this perfectly and disguise it so well. So on the snap of the ball, we're going to see that he drops into his zone coverage, reads 2-1, sees that number 1 is going to stay in the flats, and perfectly is able to come around, not get a penalty, tying up the jump perfect, and get a very nice pass break up here and almost the interception. Now looking at the top of your screen, like I said early in this video that the defensive back is at a disadvantage because they're having to react what the receiver has to do. Jeff Okudah mixes up his jams and what he does at the line of scrimmage so well, it makes the receiver react to him, because on this play, he's going to get right into his face, two-handed jam at the right line of scrimmage, and just play bump and run with him. The quarterback's going to try it. He trusts his speed, is able to turn and look on the ball, unlike he was able to do against the Niners. Not make a play on it, but still get a nice pass break up. But so many times he'll either put one hand on the receiver, he'll fake it, he'll bail out, or like we saw on the play before, just completely bail out into a zone. At the top of your screen, this is why I think he could be comeback player of the year. He has all the tools, the perfect fluidity, be able to reach around the back. This is so tough to get a pass break up when you're on man-to-man coverage. This is Nico Collins, an NFL talent receiver. He's able to break it up, not get the flag. And he was also so good. He was such a sure-handed tackler, whether it was ankle bite, making tackles for loss, or saving crucial first down conversions. So to wrap things up, I want to be clear, he is on a bust trajectory. Being taken with the 3rd overall pick comes with huge expectations, and him not being able to be out there on the field for his team is a massive deal. And when he was out there, his production definitely didn't live up to the hype or expectations he had coming in the NFL. I'm not here to say he's played good up until this point. What I'm saying is he's had a very unfortunate and unfair start to his rookie season. COVID year, no preseason, lingering injury, and a coach that put him in all sorts of terrible situations. But it seems that he's working harder than ever to get back. He has a great coach now that has created some of the best secondaries in the league in New Orleans. And looking back who he was when he was fully healthy, I think Jeff Okudah is in a very good position to be comeback player of the year, and I think he has the tools to be a Pro Bowl caliber defensive back. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure to like this video if you like videos like these. Make sure to comment down below what you think. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoy daily sports content. Thank you guys all so much for checking out the channel. And as always, I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.